We'd love to house 16 residents and then in the future, 32 more. And obviously that impacts not just the resident or the patient, if you will, but also their families. And then if their families are happy and maybe a little more relaxed because we're taking care of the patient or the resident, then they can go out and do better things. But we also hope to bring jobs to the community. We hope to be a place where people want to be employed.
Welcome to the Physicians and Properties Podcast, the show where we teach you how investing in real estate can give you the freedom to practice medicine and live life how you want.
Doctor! 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 Doctor!
Now, here's your host, Dr. Alex Schlow.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Dr. Alex Schlow. So Dr. Chloe Kilman is with us and her husband, Nick Blanchard. We're really grateful to have both Chloe and Nick on the podcast tonight. Chloe and Nick, it's awesome to have you back. For our listeners who haven't met you yet, do you mind just giving us a brief reintroduction and then we'll jump up to speed on where you guys are with your project?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much for having us back. We're really excited, or I'm excited to be back. He's excited to be on for the first time. So we appreciate it. So yeah, I'm Chloe. This is Nick. We are married and I am a geriatric physician and Nick works at Nissan right now. We started, it was back in December of 2022. We learned about RAL, residential assisted living. And we just started looking into it and we thought, I think this is for us. Here we are 3 years later. We've made a lot of progress and I don't know what else in the way of introduction. Our business is called Bloom Homes. We are in the process of hopefully building our first memory care mansion and our land is large enough to build 2 more in the future. So we're in the middle of the process of getting the first one off the ground.
That's awesome. Disrupt the ground and then build the ground. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You guys are crushing it in terms of getting that new development started, located in Mississippi. I'm really excited for this. We were talking before the podcast just how cool this project is and how this 16-bed, 16-bath memory care mansion model is so cool and how it's just going to be like a complete league of your own. Like you guys are going to set the stage. It's going to be a class of its own. It's going to be an incredible home. So we're really excited to share more about the project. What stage are you guys at in terms of your development right now?
Great question. So it seems like we've been doing this forever, but it also seems like we just started in some ways. So right now we have our land. We did all the business planning. We have a mentor. We got all that stuff. We finally locked down our land around this time last year. Actually, we've owned it about a year now. October. Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. And so we're in the process now of talking with banks, talking with appraisers, and taking the next step in like the paperwork and securing the funding so that we can hopefully break ground in the next few months if we're lucky, if everything goes according to plan, which it never does, but that's okay as long as we get there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you bring up such a great point. You guys have owned this land for almost a year and have been working very hard and very diligently to get ready to break ground and start construction on phase 1 of this project. It's a long road and it does take a lot of work to do new development, especially when you're doing something that hasn't really been done before in the area. So for folks who didn't listen to that first podcast, what was the driver and the motivation for you guys to do this project?
You want me to take that?
Of course.
Okay. I think I mentioned December of 2022 is when we first heard about this model. And just like you said, it's brand new here. We had never heard about it being anywhere. We heard another podcast with another physician that was doing this out west, Dr. Krishnan. I think I mention him every time. And we just started to get excited because as a physician, I see these patients in my office every single day who are living in nursing homes, living in assisted livings, memory cares, and maybe not getting great care. And I just thought, this is so interesting. It took me a while to wrap my mind around it. I was like, this is so interesting. It can be a big, beautiful home. And yet you have 12, 14, 16 residents. It'll be 16 in our case, where it's really more homey, but at the same time, a grand facility, excellent care, all the things that they need, just like basically raising the standard of that type of care. And I thought, if these folks can do it, why can't we? And we just really started digging into it. We went to a 3-day course out in Arizona from a popular RAL Academy, those folks that you've probably seen on the internet, and they're like the industry standards. And we got involved with them and we really liked what we were doing. We learned a lot, but we felt like at the end of that, we just wanted more. Like we were just getting hungrier and more excited about all of this. And so we started looking around. We found a mentor. We started working with him on the sort of memory care mansion side of things because there were a lot of aspects that we liked about that as opposed to finding a home, if you will, and then retrofitting it, converting it. We actually did think about doing that briefly.
Right. We found there was a lot of red tape of doing it in our area and the cost was prohibitive compared to a ground up build. So
It was roughly the same
right.
cost. And we thought, if we're going to put all this money, sink it into an older building just to retrofit it, maybe not even have as much room, why not just build our own that's purpose built, has everything everybody needs from the get-go? And so really we just started pursuing that full force.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's so cool to see where you guys have come and what you guys are doing. And you're exactly right. There's multiple different ways to get going in assisted living. And one of those could be, taking a large single-story house and renovating that or retrofitting that to suit your needs. And that you can totally do that, and that can really work. But in some markets, as you mentioned, like it may make more sense to do that new development. Although, as we see, it does take a lot of time and it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort. But once you guys are done, gosh, it's going to be so amazing and it's so beautiful. For folks who don't know what these memory care mansions look like, Brett Chetkavis and his team, they started that assisted living mansion model, that memory care mansion model. These are absolutely beautiful homes, 10,000 square feet, 16 beds, 16 bath, way nicer than my house. Like I just can't believe how beautiful they are. And it's such a cool model and a great way for seniors to really feel like kings and queens and to have that experience for the end of life and just really get treated how they should. And so it's a really cool model, and I'm excited to see that play out for you guys in Mississippi.
Thank you. We're super excited about it. I think when my patients hear about nursing care or assisted living or memory care, they think about the dark, dingy, smelly places and the places where you fall and nobody finds you for hours. And unfortunately, I've seen that firsthand occur with some of my patients. And so we're really excited about being able to show people in the community that there's a completely different way to do this and that we can provide that dignity. We can provide that one-on-one care in a beautiful home setting. And I'm really excited about the home. But I'll be honest, I'm more excited about the level of care that we're going to provide. I think to me, that's the meat of the whole thing.
Right.
That's the part that I'm excited about.
Because we shopped around in a few and saw that there were no caregivers. We couldn't find any. And that was heart crushing there, seeing that there's some of these residents just wandering around, not really aimlessly, not anything to do for them. There was no caregivers to help them find their way. That's what we want to provide, is a better caregiver to a patient.
And just better monitoring. So just today, actually, in the clinic, I had a patient come in and she's losing weight and she's at one of these big boxes. One of the ones on our appraisal, actually, who charges a little bit more than we were planning to charge. And she's losing weight and the families, we don't know why. When we go by, she seems to be eating well, but they're not monitoring her every single meal. And I said, is the facility doing that? And they said, no, that's not anything they do. They have 100 residents. They don't have time. Sometimes the food is too spicy for mom. Sometimes it's something she doesn't like. And we just know she's not eating it. With dementia, she just doesn't think to maybe get something else to eat, or her appetite is not where it needs to be. And so in my mind, I almost wanted to say, give me 2 years and she can come live in my place and we're going to monitor every single thing that she does so that we can follow those trends and really offer the best care and things like that. It's just amazing what people are doing and what people aren't doing out there.
Give them the best quality of life, and also their families a peace of mind that, hey, they're getting treated well and nourished. And
instead of the family member saying she eats well when we're there, or we really don't know. Hopefully with us, they'll know and be able to pull up the logs at any time and say, yeah, she has said she ate 90% of her meal or what have you.
That's so cool. Yeah, there's so many different ways to provide exceptional care in this environment when you have 16 residents instead of 100. And that caregiver ratio, instead of being 1 to 15 or 1 to 20, is 1 to 5 or 1 to 8, depending on the level of care. You can just really provide the exceptional care that seniors deserve. And it's a win-win for the seniors, for the families, for the caregivers. It's just a win all around. And I was thinking about what you said. Yeah, huge win for the community as well. I was thinking about what you said, you're seeing patients today. And obviously you and I both being physicians, and we see a lot of elderly patients. And I was thinking, when I was in residency, intern here in Florida, we went and rotated at this nursing home, this assisted living home, big box in Florida. I won't say where it is. I doubt it's still open. But I remember we walked in and immediately just get hit with that smell of urine, that mothball smell.
Yes.
And we're going to just find the folks to see, hey, who do we need to round on? Because the residency program rotated through this nursing home at different breaks in time.
Yeah.
And we've walked in and there's this demented lady, this demented resident laying on a mattress on the ground.
Oh.
And she was sitting in her urine, in her feces. And you just know the typical picture of frail, confused, just a terrible situation. And she pushed the call button and no one came for 20 or 30 minutes. And then it was we got to get this lady changed. So we were trying to find supplies and change. And then finally the caregivers came and helped us. And it's just absolutely terrible. And she was spending thousands of dollars to be there. And I thought, oh, maybe this is the only resident sleeping on the ground. Maybe there's another reason for that in the mattress on the ground covered in urine and poop. But it wasn't. And it was just heartbreaking. And I'm like, this is not a situation that I would want anyone's grandma or grandpa to be in.
No,
and
that's the one they let you into.
I know. Isn't it crazy?
Can you even imagine the ones where they don't let people come in?
Yeah. Yeah. It is unbelievable.
That possibility. But man, that's awful.
Yeah. Wow. And this was like
in training.
Yeah. And this is like a decent place. Like it wasn't a terrible place from that perspective, but yeah, it was wild. They no longer rotate through that nursing home anymore, partly for that reason and others. But yeah, just heartbreaking that anyone is living in that situation, much less paying a significant amount of money to be there. And bringing that all back, the care that you guys are going to provide is going to be exceptional. Your background as a geriatrician is going to add so many key insights. Just the model itself just offers so much more personalized care. And one thing that you mentioned, Chloe, that I think is really important for folks to realize is you guys were planning to charge less than that facility that's got the 100 residents that's not monitoring their residents in terms of intake. And that's a thing we hear a lot is like people think, residential assisted living or these memory care mansions, like this isn't going to be possible. I'll never be able to afford it. Oftentimes it's actually cheaper than the big box facilities and you're getting that way better care. And so it just blows my mind. That's why I love doing the podcast because we've had folks too who have come to us and been like, we didn't even know that this was a model that existed. And now this is an option for my grandma or my grandpa or my mom or my dad. And so it's just an amazing thing. So anyways, I could rant forever. I'm pretty fired up about it. Yes. And obviously we love it and what you guys are doing.
Same.
Last time we talked about you getting under contract on the land and you guys had just closed on the land and started working with an architect or you're vetting architects at that time. What's been the biggest changes that have happened since that last podcast episode in regards to your new development?
I can't believe that was happening. Yeah. So we landed on some really great architects and engineers, and they finished their side of things. Our civil engineer finished what he was doing. We have landed on a contractor, and he's been excellent. We're not even paying him yet, but he's been involved for almost a year now, I think. Right. Just really also fired up about the project. Somebody local who's done similar types of builds in other towns, but nothing quite like what we're doing. And so was really excited hearing about it. I think we took, 10 meetings with different contractors at some point it must have been in the spring. Anyway, and we just really liked him because he's a custom home builder, but he also does small businesses. And then we found out during that meeting that he's built a couple of those beehive assisted livings in different areas. And so we're like, oh, that's perfect. So he's been really great. And he's come with us to the city. We've gotten our entire plans approved by the city and county. So basically they've stamped it and said you can go ahead and build it, which is wonderful. So we turned the plans over once they were finalized to our Department of Health. And so they supervise the licensure and all of that stuff. So we've got that process started. And now we're really trying to secure the funding. That's our Q4 goal, is to secure the funding to get the investors on board, to go ahead and get the banks on board, to get the best rates that we can, get everything covered that we need. And so we're in meetings with mostly bankers and then also I would say lawyers as far as creating partnership entities and that kind of thing. All this while we're both working full-time jobs and trying to be parents and spouses, and the holidays are coming up and I know you know exactly what we're talking about. So it does get a little bit overwhelming, but then we have an exciting thing happen, like the architect's finished. Yay, celebrate.
Yes.
The city's approved it. Yay, celebrate. And then we actually recently had an appraisal done through a banker who's been really interested in what we're doing. But the appraisal did not come back as high as we expected. And I think, for one, the comparables weren't quite up to what we think we are. And maybe part of the problem is that the appraiser doesn't really understand what we're doing just because it is such a new model. And we sat down with the banker this week and went over all of that. And so they're going to turn around and speak with the appraisers. And hopefully we can get a little bit of a better appraisal to show our potential investors.
Yeah, we probably spent about 30 hours just in the past 4 or 5 days.
Yes.
Gathering material and just to give to the banker. Yeah. So
I will say this is a roller coaster.
There's a lot of times where you spend 30 hours in 5 days, or then you spend 3 hours in a week on doing things when you're waiting to hear back.
Exactly. And so like tonight, we knew we were meeting with you, but other than that, we didn't have anything going on. And what do we have to do? I feel like we have a meeting. We have something going on. No, we actually get to sit down and have a slow dinner together. It's such an up and down. Great things are happening and what seems like catastrophic things are happening. And then you figure out a way to pivot around it. And then you're back up on a high. It's like such a roller coaster is the best way I can describe it.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. It's a long roller coaster and the track's still being built in front of you. Sometimes it seems at the end.
Yes.
Yeah, but you guys are doing it. Like you guys are proof that, hey, you can do this You can still work a full-time job. You can still be, you didn't give yourself as much credit, but you can still be a great spouse, a great parent, and still do this. And it does take a lot of work. And new development, gosh, you're right. It's like that hurry up and wait. It's this classic military of hurry up and wait. And everything is, when it's needed, it's urgent, but then you don't hear anything back for weeks. And you're like, this was clearly not as urgent as it sounded. And there's just so much that goes into it and a lot of learning. We're right in that process right now, working on the Winchester development and a few other development projects. And it's just a lot of waiting and a lot of talking to different folks and meetings. And yeah, it's amazing, but it is a lot. And I feel you guys there. And I think that sometimes folks don't fully understand what all goes into that pre-construction phase. And then what all goes into phase one, the horizontal construction, before you even start going vertical. 90% really of what needs to be done happens in phase one and in that horizontal construction phase before you even start building the building. And that's what's sexy. That's what people want to see, right? Is like the build. So it's a lot of work, but
get there.
So Chloe's so great on putting everything on a calendar and scheduling time blocks on when we have things going on, that it helps move things smoothly. And we don't sit there and be like, oh, what we have to do, what meetings are coming up. We already know for the week. And she does an excellent job.
We make a lot of lists.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And then what's really helpful to stay organized and keep all those ducks in a row. What are some other things, as we're hitting kind of list and things that have been helpful for you guys to stay on track and work through this process? What are some other things that have been helpful for you guys as you navigated through this process?
Definitely calendars and lists. And I'll say all the support that we have surrounding us. So being a part of you guys' Mastermind has been really amazing. Being a part of the group with Brett and Laura has been amazing. I think in each of those groups, we have at least 100 people. So a total of 200, and there's a few overlappers, but I would say we have 100 to 200 people that we feel comfortable enough to just call and say, hey, where are you in this process? Did you encounter this? I know Nick had a call with one of our colleagues today from one of the groups, just talking about civil engineering because we had already been through that. And he said, I got this bid. Is this appropriate? And so they talked for quite a while about that. And then all the time is running together. But a few weeks ago, we went out to Texas and we had a big meeting with all the people working with Brett. And so that was really great. We got to walk the mansions. And so I think that continuous engagement and the relationships with the other people that are doing the same things has really helped keep us on track.
Yeah. And it helps vitalize you when you're feeling burnt out a little bit and you're talking to somebody else. They give you inspiration to, and it reunites that fire in you to keep going forward.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
With a lot of people in the Mastermind who've already done it, who already have experience. We just got a new Red Pod member and we're really excited to get to know her because she's got experience that we don't have. And then Aaron and Andrea are just a little bit ahead of us. And then some of the other group members are like real close behind us. We're moving laterally. It's just that part I think has been huge, just the accountability group.
Everybody being accountability and helping push each other towards their goals. It's great.
And meeting weekly. Just we have a standing time. And unless maybe once every 2 months, we can't make it. But other than that, like we're updating each other on the group me. And so we have that weekly accountability, which is huge. And of course, the different communities that we can be a part of and be in the social media aspect of things. I would like to be more active in those, but life gets in the way.
And we run out of time. We got to sleep sometimes.
Exactly.
Sleep's important for sure. No, I completely agree. Obviously, we fully believe in the Mastermind. We fully believe in community and accountability, and it can really make all the difference. And I was thinking about the Red Pod. So for folks who don't know what Chloe's mentioning when she says the Red Pod, in the Row Room, in the Mastermind, we have pods, community accountability pods, and it's usually 6 to 8 or so members who are in these pods, and they work together and they hold each other accountable. And it's this beautiful like microcosm of community. And it's just so good at helping you elevate yourself and see like this is possible and bounce ideas off of and all these sort of things. Really amazing. But I was thinking about your guys' pod and how nuts it is that, Aaron and Andrea raised $2.8 million. They're getting ready to build these 2 16-bed homes. You guys in your development, obviously, Dustin and Randy they're getting ready to purchase land in Vegas and start doing a new development. And Angela's already operating and she's looking at more deals. And Jeb, bought
right there too.
Yeah, Jeb bought a ton of land and he wants to build 10 of these.
Yes, exactly.
It's just so cool to like action takers. And that's what we're really shooting for in the Row Room is it's a community of action takers who are going to build each other up and be go-givers. And you guys fully embody that. Gosh, it's just been so fun. And Charlie and Luke and I were talking about, we set a goal when we first started the Row Room. Hey, we want to open 100 homes through the Row Room by 2027. And we thought that was like nuts. We're like, it's crazy. And now we're like, shoot, this is probably going to happen.
Yeah.
And it is amazing because that is 100 homes providing amazing care for seniors.
Awesome.
And it's just super exciting. Yeah. Oh, man, good stuff.
Yeah. We're super excited. We're just so grateful to be a part of it all.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's awesome. It's amazing what Brett's doing. And there's just a lot of great people in the space who are really helpful, who are go-givers, who want to help each other out. And it's just an awesome environment. Because I think one thing that folks don't really think about is like there's such a massive supply demand mismatch that like everybody that we ever talk to about assisted living could build a home and we're still not going to meet the need that's needed. So that competition compared to other real estate asset classes is not really, it doesn't really exist. So it like doesn't matter. We all need to collaborate so we can open more and more of these homes. Exactly. And get them built faster. Man, I keep getting on soapboxes tonight. I apologize for folks that are listening. But yeah, so let's talk about some challenges. You guys mentioned the appraisal and you're working that process. What have been some other challenges or unexpected things that have come up as you guys get closer to getting this project across the finish line?
Great question. And we don't want to necessarily call anybody out because some of the people that we've been working with may be in our audience. But I will say that probably the biggest challenge is just explaining what we're trying to do. For example, with the Department of Health, we have one person who had heard of me and I had never met her, but I guess she had heard good things. And I'm really grateful because she's like really trying to speed things along for us. And then there's some other people who really don't seem to understand what we're doing. And they're like, wait a minute, the process is this. And I'm like, but last year you said it was that. So now I don't understand. I don't understand exactly where we are. And it's, no, you need to go back here and do this. And I'm thinking that person already said I did this. So how do we, anyway, it's just that part has been a little bit tricky, a little bit of the bureaucracy. I think most people, once we explain what we're doing, they're really excited about it. But I would say that's been challenging.
Right. Explaining,
Yeah. And then even to the banks and potential investors and just everybody, most people are excited to hear about it once they understand. But it is a little bit of time to get people up to speed. And I don't know, I like in this process for us, it's like learning a new language, but honestly, it's more like learning 10 new languages. I feel like now we could go out and be appraisers. We could be lender. No, I don't know that much about any of that stuff, but I feel like I know more about architecture than I ever did. I know more about appraisals than I ever did. I know more about like different partnership structures. There's just so much that you're learning.
So it's learning taxes.
We're learning about lawyers and all the different things. So I would say it's been both the best thing and the most challenging is speaking with all the different people that you have to speak with to make this deal work.
Right. Making the connections and everything. Like we found through the network of the Row Room, we're able to find, tax people, we need to talk with them. And we're learning on that. And that can use outside of assisted living if you want to start something else. There's been a benefit of doing that. So.
For sure. Yeah. So just meeting all the different professionals has been great.
Yeah.
But also challenging because it is all new. Mm-hmm. And we have to have such an understanding. We don't have to have a complete understanding, but because we're doing it ourselves, we can't just hire somebody and say, here, you do all this for us. And we don't know anything about it. Like at the end of the day, we may not be running the facility every single day in the future, but we at least want to know how to do all the things so that if we had to, we could. And also just to get up and running, you have to have a basic understanding of all the different pieces that go with it. So that's been the most challenging and just wishing there were more hours in the day.
Yeah, when you figure that one out, let me know. No, I think a key point that you guys have brought up, and you've mentioned this multiple times, is talking to people about what you're doing and explaining what you're doing. And this business, just like really any business, is all relationships, right? And if you're willing to go talk with the lender and go talk with the appraiser, go talk with your local community, the zoning office, whoever it may be, and explain what you're doing in person and be willing and able to like share your story and your journey and what you're doing, it's going to get you so much more buy-in and understanding because you're exactly right. A lot of people don't know what this is. And they immediately think that facility that I mentioned where the lady's sleeping on a mattress on the ground with urine covering
right.
things. Yeah. So it just takes that explanation and then it takes building that relationship. And that's something that people can do now, regardless of where they're at in terms of new development or looking for homes. I start building those relationships now. So when these opportunities come up, you're ready to go and you know who to talk to. So that's really great advice, guys.
Totally. That's something Brett taught us. Go talk to everybody early and often. And we're both introverts. So we're like, we don't do that. But with my job, obviously, I've had to learn how to do it throughout the years. And we've both gotten better at it. over time. But I don't know, that was a big challenge, I think, for me too, just to go and talk to people and they're like, do you need something from me? And it's eventually yes. But for now, I just want us to get to know each other and I want you to understand what I'm doing and support me. And I don't know, that's been tricky, but more rewarding too, because you do actually get to know people.
But it was pretty neat. Remember, we went and talked with the fire chief probably a year ago and gave him a card and everything, spoke with him. And about a week or two later, the fire chief's father called, who's retired, worked in the city council and everything, gave us a call and was just interested in our project. Yeah. So we told him about it. And then
used to work in senior housing, it turns out.
A year later here, when we're at the zoning meeting, he heard that it was going to happen and he went there and he came and he met us in person and everything. That was really great. Like a year later, he still remembered about our project and was interested. And it's just amazing.
We found some really unexpected, wonderful support.
That's awesome. And telling everybody what you're doing and what you're building and your vision and your dream, like it helps them buy into the vision. And also, once you guys get to that point where you start marketing for residents, or who knows if you'll even really need to market, I think you guys are going to be able to get plenty of residents really quickly, just given how integrated you guys are in the community. But once you get to that point, you guys have already been telling everyone. So it's not going to be like, what is this like new, really beautiful building? What in the world are they doing there? It's already going to be known. And then it's going to be a lot easier for you guys to attract residents and fill the home.
We think so too. We hope
That's
so.
awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome. What kind of impact are you guys hoping to make in the community with this home as well as phase 2, where we're hoping homes 2 and 3 will get built?
Yeah, certainly we'd love to house 16 residents and then in the future, 32 more. And obviously that impacts not just the resident or the patient, if you will, but also their families. And then if their families are happy and maybe a little more relaxed because we're taking care of the patient or the resident, then they can go out and do better things. But we also hope to bring jobs to the community. We hope to be a place where people want to be employed. We plan to pay a little bit higher and try to really value people for what they're doing for us and do extra things for them when we can. But I also have a couple of ideas for different nonprofits and things that we would like to do eventually. There's a huge need for dementia care givers out in the community. And unfortunately, insurance will not cover that. And so one of my ideas is to do a nonprofit where we could train people, maybe in our homes, to do that, to provide that care to community dwellers and maybe somehow get some grants or some funding from our business or all of the above in order to do that. That would be one of my dreams down the road. And then we have a few other potential dreams like that, but really just impacting senior care in general in our state would be amazing. Amazing legacy to leave.
Tell them we're doing the TIPA snow training to teach our caregivers the way to treat a dementia patients. Are totally different than then there's different stages of dementia they go through, and that a regular caregiver that may not have any kind of dementia care would realize that, this is just part of the dementia that they'd have to understand on how to treat the patient.
Right. And how to communicate. There's a really specialized way that she goes about doing it, and she's had a lot of success. And there's even evidence-based studies out there that say that her care is the best, and that it reduces trips to the ER and the geri psych unit and things like that. So we've really gotten integrated in her group with her people, and we're going through the trainings, and our plan is to transmit that to our staff as well. So
that's awesome.
Hopefully all of this will have a good impact on the whole senior community and their families.
It definitely will. Yeah. If any of TIPA Snow's folks are listening, we would love to have TIPA on the podcast. I've reached out a couple times. We'll see what happens. We're looking forward to meeting her at the conference in November and see what happens. But I do really love what she's doing and just how she's flipping the script in terms of taking care of patients with dementia and really just providing excellent care. We're going to need more and more of that. And that's a field that's always growing and changing and just so much learning. I think if folks listen to this have heard, like, you guys are learning a ton and you have that willingness. And I know, Chloe, you as a physician, like, we just have that learning muscle where we just want to keep learning more and more all the time. And do have to balance the learning with the being willing to take some risk as well and maybe not know all the information. And take action. But it's awesome. I'm excited for the impact that you guys are going to make. That's going to be fantastic. I know folks that are listening to this, we get a lot of questions about funding. What has that process been like for you guys? How are you anticipating funding this property and bringing on investors? What does all that look like for you?
Good question. So we've been talking with a lot of different people about our project, and a lot of we've had a lot of interest of people who are like, hey, I want to invest with you guys. And so we are looking to do a joint venture partnership. We have been talking with a lot of people. Like I said, we don't have anything finalized, but essentially that is our plan, to do the investors to help us with the down payment and then to get the SBA loan to fund the rest, which is a perfect product for what we're trying to do, because it will cover what do you call it? Bricks and sticks.
Yeah, bricks and sticks, furnitures and fixtures, and fund you through the lease up
And
period
working
time.
capital and things like that. Yeah. So it's a really great small business starting product. So that's our plan.
Yes. And we reached out to Kavi with Cornerstone, and he's a broker who's shopping other banks for us. And they reached out to a few. And then we have three other banks that we're working with specifically on our own, that are, I guess, getting all our information to get a term sheet from.
Just trying to get the best, most fair deal out there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's always good to get multiple term sheets and multiple options and work with banks. And there is some room, folks. I think sometimes that banks are just like incredibly rigid, and like you get one quote, if you will, and you have to go with that because it's never going to be any different. There's a lot of wiggle room in working with different lenders and local banks and all those sorts of things. So it's definitely helpful to shop around, and it's helpful to work with folks who have experience with assisted living. And Kavi's great. Some of the other banks in the community, Live Oak, Bank 59, local lenders, there's some good ones out there. And so that's awesome. The SBA loan 7A is amazing. And it's so cool that you can have this loan product, sometimes get for 10% down, depending on experience and some other things, but sometimes get that for 10% down and then just be able to wrap everything. It's like unbelievable that you can do that. And so it's a really cool option. And I think perfect for you guys and what you're building. That is great. Yeah, we're just so excited for you guys.
Thank you.
I figure a lot of people also, Nick, you're up, my man. I feel like people are wondering like, hey, what does it cost to build one of these? Do you mind just sharing some rough numbers, don't have to be exact, on what it may cost to build this home and what potential income may exist with this home as well? This is a business and you guys are working full-time jobs and you're doing this and you ultimately want to obtain some degree of financial freedom, I'm sure, through this project. So what do the numbers look like, if you don't mind sharing that?
So yeah, we gave all our blueprints and everything to our contractor, and he went out and did a bid on it and everything. With our mentor, Brett, he has his construction administrator that's on there, and he looks at the bid. He takes the bid our GC has, compares it, because he has other people around the country too. So he knows what the average price is. He said it should be within 20% margin of all the everybody else, which if not, let's try to correct these and everything. So he knows what things are going for. So for our particular build, just the sticks and bricks, you'd say, would be $2.1 million just for that portion. And then is it included in there? And then all the...
Is that included in the 2.6?
No, that's not.
2.1, you
2.1, yeah, 2.1. Then we include the land and
2.6.
And then all the bank fees. It comes to roughly 3.9.
But that includes the working capital, the furniture, lease-up reserves. So a whole bunch of basically the entire project comes to about 3.9 total cost.
That's amazing. Yeah. And again, for folks who are like, man, that's a lot of money. We're talking 10,000 square foot luxury mansion. And it is a lot of money. Yes, you're exactly right.
It is a lot of money.
Yeah, I know. It definitely gives you palpitations. It's just an amazing project. And so folks are hearing $3.9 million. What the heck? How are you going to support that and support that payment to the SBA? What does the income potential look like for the home?
So when we were shopping around, we get the price of the other assisted livings, and we'd find out what their prices were for memory care, their low end and their high end. We decided we'd come in right at the middle of what the local competitors are charging. So we're coming in under what they're charging. So hopefully we'd draw more clients that they would, and coming in at the middle, and we'll make a great profit on that, which will pay back everything. We'll be able to pay our caregivers and our managers and chef a good fair wage that's higher than the average in the business, and still come out with, I guess, $25,000 to $30,000 a month profit.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Everything goes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but still,
once we're stabilized, first generation will not look like that.
Yes, but that's how.
Yeah.
And then that creates enough money to hopefully turn around and do the two others. And then assuming all that goes well, then that turns around and would feed into the nonprofits and the giving back to other organizations in town that we would like to do.
It's amazing. Love it. Yeah, there's a lot of potential for sure. And you're still providing absolutely amazing care at a cheaper price than a lot of the other facilities. And I have no doubt, I know you guys underwrote conservatively, middle of the road in terms of memory care, what you're going to charge, but I have no doubt that you guys are going to be the pinnacle and ultimately going to be able to charge whatever you want for the care that you're going to provide, because it's just going to be a class of its own. That is awesome. As we wrap things up here, what are you guys most excited for, let's say, coming up in the next couple months in regards to this property? Because I know the answer is getting this done and getting it operating, but what are some things coming up in the next couple months that you're excited for, some milestones we can celebrate along the way?
Yeah. For me, Q4 is going to be about securing the funding. And then hopefully Q1 of next year will be about breaking ground.
That's why I'm looking forward to actually seeing something being built. And I plan on going watching it every morning, seeing what
we want to take a picture in the exact same spot over the year and then do a time lapse someday.
That'd be awesome.
How to do that? Can you bury a tripod legs and then just put the camera on every single day and take I don't know. We're going to have to figure that out.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a way.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to watch that and see that come to fruition.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too.
That is awesome. Is there something that you wish more people understood about memory care or this type of development?
I guess that bigger is not necessarily better is the first thing that comes to mind. We do have a couple of really grand assisted livings in town, but like I said, those are some of the ones that I've literally had patients in my office say that they've fallen and nobody has found them for hours. And these are the best. Not saying accidents can't happen everywhere. When you start to see a pattern in some of these places, bigger is not necessarily better.
Even talking with the banker this weekend, one of his parents or somebody they know is in one of these premier assisted living places paying a lot of money. And he saw the renderings and the actual pictures that I provided that show them of Brett's home already completed, that we have the whole decor and a spec sheet of everything that he has, we can put in our home also and make it look exactly like that. And he was just amazed on how grand and beautiful it looked compared to that premier one in town, because it is a large 100+ facility. So it has that a huge build. It's not a nice homey mansion look. It's
that homey personalized care boutique environment. There's just something so special about it. And it is awesome. Before we wrap things up, how can folks reach out to you if they want to know more or if they're interested in potentially partnering with you guys now or in the future? Yeah,
we would love to speak with anybody who's interested in learning more about what we're doing. We also spend a lot of time talking to other folks who are just interested in doing this themselves and trying to promote our different mentors. And that includes you guys in the Mastermind. But y'all can find me on LinkedIn. I think Nick is on LinkedIn as well. So is Bloom Homes, the name of our project. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, all the usual.
BloomHomesAssistedLiving.com. We have a webpage and I'll link you to our Facebook, LinkedIn, and all the other sites that we have.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll
learn how to build websites, social media, like one of the 10 languages.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's awesome. Check out Bloom Homes. Check out the website. It's amazing to see what you guys are doing. And you guys have some really awesome renderings and pictures. You can wrap your head around the idea of what you guys are building there in Mississippi. Oh, man, this has been awesome. Chloe and Nick, thanks so much for coming back on the podcast. And Nick, so glad that you're here this time, sharing this chapter of your guys' journey. We'll be cheering you guys on. Looking forward to breaking ground and then bringing you on once you get this launched.
Oh, heck yeah. We'd love it.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Absolutely. With that, it's been Chloe and Nick and Alex. Take care. Hey, real quick, if you're still listening to this, I'm assuming you got value from it. So I need your help specifically. My 2-year vision with this podcast is to help 100,000 physicians learn how investing in real estate can give you the freedom to practice medicine and live life how you want. There are 2 main ways that a podcast grows. One is through ratings and reviews, and the other is word of mouth. If you can please leave me a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, as well as send this to 1 to 2 friends that you think would get value from it, we can reach the physicians that we want to reach. Thanks in advance, and talk to you on the next episode. Please note that the information shared on this podcast is for informational purposes only. It should not be considered financial or medical advice. The views expressed on this podcast are those of the host and the guest and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Department of Defense or the United States Air Force.